you think about how the team looked on the 2-minute drill at the end, offense and defense?
Yeah, obviously we're working a lot of situational football. Today we're going to work a lot of red area, third down. Yes, I got 2 minute. We'll finish with 2 minute again today. These are situations that, you work in practice against yourselves. It's even better exposure and experience when you get out there against a foreign opponent and see what they do differently, and then also see how you guys stack up. Obviously, it's not the way we want to end practice, but that's why we're out here, to learn from our mistakes, to get better, see what we do well, and make sure that we can adjust as coaches schematically, and then players get out there and operate with more efficiency.
What stood out when you went back and watched yesterday's practice?
In terms of the team altogether?
Yeah, anything?
Yeah, I think on both sides there was good competition. I think there was good things you saw on the fronts, offensive and defensive. I think we saw a lot of plays from both sets of skill players, our team and their team. There's some things you've got to clean up. Obviously, you had the preseason game. For a lot of guys, it's their first, competitive experience against another team. You get out there, you get a little different system and schemes against you, so some things you got to adjust to. But, I thought the effort was good yesterday. I liked the way the guys came out and they competed. I thought our conditioning as a team looked good. That was an encouraging thing right there. And really, you've got to get a factor on that when you really start stacking against other teams and seeing where your team is. I don't think as a coach you ever feel fully confident in where your team is conditioning-wise until you can measure it against somebody else on a field for a duration of time. So in terms of where we are, look, training camp's not what it used to be. The duration's different. The ramp-up's different. You try to push your team to make sure they can stay on the field, healthy, and then play effectively for 60 minutes with good football position fundamentals. So that's a key part of what we're looking for. I thought that was a positive yesterday that showed up in our practice.
Joe, it looked like your guys on the edges were getting some pressure on defense. Now, it's hard for me to tell because when they're going to whistle it dead and, what guys would wriggle out of it or not. But what did you see? Did you see that there was pressure?
I thought there were some good things to build off of. I think there were enough reps yesterday where you saw some guys flash. There's some other reps that we had to highlight to our players and say, all right, look, you've got to have a counter move here, or, you've got to anticipate that this tackle's a good player. He's going to go ahead and adjust to you. And also along with that, it's not always just you versus tackles. Are they going to leave the tight end to chip? Is the back going to give extra help? So things we have to learn to process and recognize at full speed. So on both sides, both sets of defenses really had good work yesterday. It is difficult sometimes in these practices to see would he have made the sack, would he have gotten the pass off, how's it going to measure out. In the 2-minute drills, me and Kevin stand behind our own offenses and we rule the sacks as they come up. It's probably the fairest way of doing it. He did a good job yesterday of kind of whistling a couple dead. I made sure I whistled one dead as well in the first one. So you just try to balance it out right there and be realistic about what it is. On the same time, you have to understand the parameters of the practice. We're telling our players, if you come free, you stay away from the quarterback. We tell our guys, you come free, they're wearing a red jersey, that's quarterback, punter, kicker, you peel off and get away. We see on the tape, we saw you broke on through. I don't want a guy ducking in front of a quarterback having a hand land on top. I don't want someone reaching for a ball, hitting Baker's hand or someone hitting Daniel's hand. We're going to make sure we take care of each other out here.
Kevin said he was close to whistling that last one dead.
We got to make a better play as a team. All right, look, that's no excuse on that right there. We look at the tape of what it is. Even if he did whistle it down, we're going to still correct anything that happened on the back end and what we can build on right there. So everything's a learning experience, and everything we do, especially this time of year, we're always looking to get better. There's not going to be any ifs and buts with how we practice. We take every experience. We may go ahead and highlight and say, all right, you got the sack here, but guess what? Down the field, we may have been, flawed in the coverage right here. So we're going to correct everything all the time.
What are you going to do on Sunday with your ones?
Yeah, you know what? I haven't decided yet. We're going to see how we come out today. I'm going to talk with Kevin in terms of his plans. We've talked earlier in the week about what they're intending to do. I want to see how that's going to measure up, and we'll evaluate our team after today. I don't see playing as a punishment. This isn't anything in terms of what a performance would dictate. I just want to make sure we keep our overall players' loads, in consideration going into it, because there's also going to be a quick turnaround going from Cleveland, getting back home, training up to Boston, and going against New England for a couple days before playing the preseason game 3, which we're going to truly treat as more of that, regular season dress rehearsal.
So have you made a decision on Daniel?
No, I haven't made a decision on anybody right now.
What did you think of Daniel's practice, and how did you evaluate the interception at the end?
Well, I think evaluating the interception is like anything else. You look at the whole scope of what he did, or what the other players on the field did, and you correct everything involved. Look, the reality is, games come down to how you finish them. So everything counts, and everything we build on counts. We can't dismiss anything and say that wasn't a big deal. That's not our nature as coach, not our nature as a program. We look at everything and evaluate. However, I like the way he competed yesterday. I thought he did a really good job, handling pressure, being efficient, getting the ball out on time, throwing accurate passes, really facilitating the offense and keeping it moving in the early down situations we worked. I thought he did a really good job of that right there. And then we'll have other opportunities today to work in more third down, red area, and 2 minutes at the end of practice.
As far as playing him in games or not, is the fact he's getting this competitive practice against another opponent, could that color your decision on whether to put him in an actual game?
That could factor for a lot of players. Based on what these 2 days look like in terms of the quality of work they got, who they're going against, and whether or not we think it's going to be specifically beneficial for that player or the team as a whole with building chemistry going forward for whatever the duration of playing time be in the game. But we're going to factor all that in. We're going to talk a lot about today after practice. Probably make our final decision tomorrow morning.
In the past, have you have you felt that the second day of joint practices has even more tempo and intensity? Or no?
I think the third day is historically, if you go 3 hard practices. Now, the ones I've been part of, day 1 and day 2 have been what we've been doing right here. I think both teams had good tempo yesterday, and both teams played controlled and played to, get good competition against each other and also take care of each other. That's really what the goal was, coming out here to make sure we get good quality work and we come out here and get better as a team. In terms of the tempo or emotions or whatever that may be alluding to right there, it depends on who you are and depends on where you're at. Look, I've been parts of these practices. We've gone out there day 1 and gotten our teeth kicked in and went out there and, wrote our name all over the opponent the next day. And I've been in the other way around too. We've gone out there the first day, places I've been, and you come out feeling like you're the world champions, and the next day, guess what? You find out the hard way, you weren't ready for it. So again, the importance of these days of either building on success or handling adversity, it's a good challenge for our team. This is different. It's not Major League Baseball. It's not the NBA. You don't play the same team twice in a row ever in terms of 2 days. So to be able to have this unique experience of going out there and either cleaning up what you put on tape yesterday or making sure that you avoid them cleaning something up and take advantage of it today, that's important to see our players respond.
Did you get out of the first practice okay health-wise?
Yeah, for the most part, we're very fortunate as far as getting out of it health-wise. There's a couple guys with some, bumps and dings, natural football stuff right there. There's going to be a couple guys we trim back on. I'm going to check with Ronnie Barnes in a little bit. There's some guys, as we left the hotel, he wanted to check on, do a final, run through. We start the morning a little bit later in these deals. We don't start till a 10 a.m. squad meeting. Gives the players plenty of time to kind of rest, catch up. But just the nature of the transportation to the facility and back, we got to make sure we structure time on the back end to have film review, and within an 11-hour day, we start a little bit later. Because of that, we don't have the full injury report finalized before going to practice. We'll go in a normal morning.
I haven't seen Nate do any team drills since last week, though. Is he dealing with something?
Nate Solder?
Yeah.
Nate's with our trainers right now. He's actually, doing well, moving to good progress. We just felt this would be a good week to really kind of let him go ahead and continue with that, and we expect to get him back soon. He's had a really good camp for us, Dan. I'm really proud of the way he's working, proud of the leadership he's given to our team. He's come back. Obviously, we talked earlier in camp about him getting back in the swing of things like every other player. I don't think it took him long. He jumped right back on that horse and kept on riding. So as soon as we can get him back out there, we will.
So we talked about yesterday with Saquon holding him out from the live stuff
Yes.
against another team. Is that going to be the same thing next week, do you think, when you guys are in Foxborough?
I can't answer that just yet. I don't have an answer for you right there, Tom. This will be kind of, evaluating coming out of this week. We'll actually get some opportunities today. We're going to get some one-on-ones with, our safeties and our tight ends, our running backs and our linebackers in practice. So the intention is for Saquon, when it's our guys, let him work a little bit against some of our guys, get one-on-ones, and get moving with some competitive stuff right there. Now, it's all still controlled as well. And then we get to, New England next week, we'll deal with that.
As meticulously as you and Kevin planned this joint experience, did anything surprise you about your team or about the day yesterday?
I couldn't say anything surprised me yesterday, no. And there's always things you learn. But I wouldn't say I was surprised or shocked by anything yesterday.
No, you're.
When you go back and look at the film last night of how your offensive line performed, obviously we had a ton of questions for you out of the preseason game. What did you see from those guys working together up front, both in one-on-ones?
Yeah, I think working against a very talented front like they have, obviously was a great challenge. I saw a lot of positive things, saw a lot of good things in the run game and pass game, and there's obviously things that we got to clean up as well. Now, some of that stuff is just through communication on the line of scrimmage, making sure we're all hat on hat and the right guy, and some of that stuff is technique-based. I saw good effort. I saw good competitiveness. I'm pleased with that. We watched the tape. We corrected things we thought were mistakes or something we have to clean up, and we highlighted things they did well. Today, it'll be important to see how they respond to what we're doing and go forward with a positive day.
Last one.
Yeah, and we know you're taking the guys for a little bonding after practice today. What was the thought process there? I guess because you had the time to do it.
You know what? It's a great opportunity just to be on the road together as a team. You don't get a lot of time, with the new rules of training camp to get out and do things in terms of team building. It's important at times we step away from the field and just get to enjoy each other as players, as coaches, as a team, and get back and just, laugh a little bit, smile a little bit, tell a couple stories, and have some friendly competition.